Ladies and gentlemen, this is your tea time champion, Theo Ivory, and you are now listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
What's going on, everybody? This is the super fly guy, Trayvon Jordan.
And this is the Fly Side Flyer, Jalen Brandon.
And we collectively known as Waves and Curls, and you are listening to
Wrestling with Entertainment.
We are wrestling with WWE Royal Rumble. It was last week. It was the start of the road to WrestleMania. But I don't know. Usually the path to WrestleMania is pretty much set at the Royal Rumble and you can see where they're going. I kind of felt more confused rather than clarity. But what say you, Scooter? What did you think about the show and how we're going into WrestleMania?
Love the fact that the final two in the women's rumble were two of my picks. Bianca, definitely the right person to push in terms of if anyone deserved it, it was Bianca for how hard she's been working. I'm not. I'm 50-50 on Edge winning.
Kind of feel the same, and we'll
Yeah.
get into that
Yeah.
for sure. But overall enjoyment. Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle.
Definitely a thumbs up. I mean, with all the surprises and the potential returns. I mean, yeah, thumbs up.
What about you, Kaliko? Your thoughts on the paid preview as a whole, and thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle.
This is probably their best pay-per-view since the pandemic. And the reason being is what you said. There's no clarity. And I like the fact that there's no clarity. Because back in the day, like, remember, before they added those two freaking pay-per-views, everything would be set. We were kind of conditioned to that, right?
Right.
But now with Elimination Chamber and Fastlane, it brings more ambiguity. And the simple fact that they're adding NXT, it adds even more ambiguity. So I like the fact that us as fans get to kind of hypothesize. Because the one thing I must say, we all get pissed when we can predict shit. I can't predict shit. So to me, that's fucking awesome.
So thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle.
Oh yeah, thumbs up. This was their best pay-per-view in a while. Like, granted, I'd say this pay-per-view, Hell in a Cell, were their top pay-per-views.
Let's get into it. The first match, Drew McIntyre defeated Goldberg to retain the WWE Championship in 2 minutes and 33 seconds. I don't think anybody was expecting a 39-star match in the Tokyo Dome with these two guys. But did WWE succeed in what they were supposed to do in this match, Scooter?
I'm not sure. Everybody was almost basically counting Drew out because of the way the WWE has approached Goldberg in the last few years. I mean, this is literally the first title match that he's walked into in the last few years and hasn't won.
True.
I kind of think he.
Scooter?
I mean, yeah, Drew wins, great. But if Goldberg wasn't winning, why do it at all? And could anybody else have been in Goldberg's spot to maybe actually tell the story that maybe could have, gone at least one pay-per-view more?
True, but we do have 2 more pay previews before WrestleMania as well.
Yes, and I mean, and given that it looks like I was right about who Drew's WrestleMania opponent is going to be. I mean, we'll probably see them come to earn it at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah. What about you, Kaliko? What are your thoughts on Goldberg versus McIntyre?
Everything not Mitch, everything Scooter said, Jesus Christ, I'm getting buzzed. Everything he said is exactly why Goldberg was there, because he gets this one thing that everyone else won't get, and it's called the benefit of the doubt. And to me, the simple fact that he was in the match gave the benefit of the doubt that he could actually pull it off. And why we give him the benefit of the doubt? Because he ruined Kevin Owens' run. He ruined the Fiend's run. So he got the biggest benefit of the doubt that if there were ever a title to change hands, it would be Goldberg doing the changing. So that's why I think it was set up that way. Drew winning, to me, kind of solidified him as, yo, I'm breaking the curse. Because when they bigged up the fact that, every title Goldberg has came back to fight for, he's won. And I'm like, bro, it was just a universal title. What the fuck are they talking about? But
he hasn't been a Continental Champion.
You know what I mean? I'm not like he's like, yo, let me go after this U.S. title. But the fact that they made that a big part of the story led me to believe that it meant more for Drew to stop that shit. And I think Scooter's right in the sense that it was going to go with Sheamus, which is why I didn't really pick him to win the Royal Rumble, because I felt like it was going to be something where it was going to be storyline centered. It didn't really need a Royal Rumble win to mucky it up. You know what I mean? It was pretty crystal clear how that was going to go, especially the way that it was going with the Keith Lee thing. And that's why, oh my God, Keith Lee didn't even make the Rumble because of the Rona. Fucking A. I thought Keith, that's a whole other issue.
I guess you could say that was his reckoning.
Oh, that joke of the night.
That joke of the night. But yeah, I thought Keith Lee was gonna win, so it would be Keith Lee and Drew, with Sheamus bringing in that doubt. So now with Sheamus coming in, it's a clear storyline. So to me, Edge is either picking Roman or Finn. I don't think he's picking Sheamus. But that's a whole nother thing. We'll get to that.
Next match up, Sasha Banks defeated Carmella with Reginald to retain the SmackDown Women's Championship in 10 minutes and 22 seconds. I kind of feel like this rivalry has run its course. And it's time for Sasha to move on. What say you, Scooter?
Yeah, I mean, quite honestly, they moved the tag title to the kickoff show for this instead, and I'm not sure if either one was the right way to go, but I mean, usually the new gimmick especially for women, that usually means. I mean, unless you're, Emelina, usually means success. And Carmella it's just gonna go back to floundering again, and just you know, yeah. You know what? Before I say something I regret, I'll stop here and just be like, Sasha can move on, and we don't have to worry about Carmella getting back in the picture.
As we're reporting this, Carmella has just won the SmackDown Women's Championship. what say you, Kaliko?
Wow. Well, I kind of figured they wouldn't do all that for Carmella if Carmella. Personally, I think Carmella is pretty solid. I am, and to me,
Underrated talent.
yeah, underrated, and I think it's because of the looks and the way that she came in and all this stuff. So it kind of like didn't it didn't pan out with the fans as far as from the wrestling sense, but from a popularity sense, it did. And she was a Money in the Bank winner. And to me, Bianca winning the Royal Rumble, it kind of forced their hand to get Sasha out of the picture, mainly because of the simple fact that WrestleMania is about making that spotlight and conquering the bad guy. Like as much as we that's basically what it is. WrestleMania is the spot where all 99% of the good guys go over, unless your name's Triple H. But 99% of the good guys go over, and they get put into a stratosphere. And I think personally, I felt like Bianca, if she wins the title at Mania, it would have been better if it was Bayley than Carmella. Not knocking Carmella, but the fact that Bayley has the thing, has the she has the ability to dig up Bianca on the way to the match. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Carmella, I like her, and she's a good heel to get over. But I feel like if, let's say, like, for shits and giggles, what if Bayley had kept the title all the way to WrestleMania and Bianca fucking conquered her? That would have been a bigger deal. You know what I mean?
True.
That's why I say that. But, I mean, if Carmella's the champ, that means Bianca Carmella, and Bianca's going to get all of her good stuff out, and I'm so happy for her. The only thing, like I said, I don't like about her, she was a Tennessee Volunteer, and I'm a UGA fan, so we kind of got this thing going. But other than that, I couldn't be more happier for someone who, keep in mind, she made her debut at a pandemic-less, fanless WrestleMania, and now she gets to have her time, possibly with fans, and come full circle. So, I mean, that means a lot.
And let's actually get into it. Bianca Belair won the Women's Royal Rumble match in 58 minutes and 49 seconds. There was a lot going on in this match. We got the return of Jillian Hall, Troy Wilson. Alicia Fox actually won the.
Alicia Fox, man.
She actually won the 24/7 championship in this match.
48-7, 7-11, 365.
Really,
I-95 North.
honestly, a fun match. The two last women in the match was Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. Obviously, Belair is going on to WrestleMania. But what does it say about Rhea Ripley? I mean, honestly, ever since the match with Charlotte, she's been fluttering, grasping for air. And, this could have been a moment for her to kind of redeem herself. And they kind of didn't give it to her. Do you think that's the company not believing in her, or does it kind of give you a little bit hope that they are going with her, considering she was in the top 2?
I think it's the. I think they're approaching it now the same way with Shayna when Becky won, or when Charlotte won. I'm sorry. Because it was Charlotte and Shayna in the last year. And the fact that Ripley didn't win isn't necessarily a bad thing. She is being called up along with Damian Priest, who is now officially a part of the Raw brand, along with Bad Bunny. You got to say it that way, or else it.
Bad Bunny.
Yeah. But and that makes me think Rhea is going to be part of Raw. And I'll be honest, Asuka and Rhea, probably a dream match we didn't know we needed. Probably as the ability to be a bigger match than a Bayley Sasha Iron Woman rematch.
You have a point there, but again, she kind of lost her way, so we might get that match, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it would be the match we need it to be if it does happen. You kind of understand what I mean?
Yeah, it's true, but then you could also look like, okay, Shayna, okay, won the Elimination Chamber. Okay, and we also got to remember Rhea could win the Elimination Chamber too.
That's true.
Then again, Shayna won the Chamber, dominated, ended up not winning at WrestleMania. Of course, Becky was a month or so pregnant at the time without realizing it. So, and quite honestly, if Becky had known before then, Shayna would have won, without a doubt. But I got a feeling I think they're going to invest more into Ripley, especially if they really make her just somebody who like a female Stone Cold.
Well,
just come in and wreck everybody.
how about you, Kaliko? What are your thoughts on Rhea Ripley?
I can see what Scooter's saying, because to be quite honest, when you think about it, it would make sense for her to win Elimination Chamber than a Royal Rumble. And here's why. Bianca was already featured as far as a redemption, or not a redemption, of more of a proof that she belongs, right? And what better way to prove that you belong than by winning, the Royal Rumble, right? Because it's one of those things where it's a random thing, right? Keep in mind, Asuka does not have an opponent at WrestleMania, so Rhea Ripley could easily win and jump in the Raw, qualify for the Chamber, win the Chamber. And if you look at the landscape, Charlotte's busy with Lacey. Nia and Shayna are champs. Alexa's more busy with Randy.
True.
So it gives her not only a person of high quality opponent, but It puts her back in the spotlight, and then you could talk about the whole redemption of I was here last year. I feel like I failed. I will not fail this time. Does that make sense?
Right.
Mm, yeah, I mean, given the fact that before the whole pandemic shut everything down, they were looking to go all out with Rhea.
That's true.
They filmed all those vignettes in Raymond James Stadium.
Now, Bianca Belair.
Not to mention that the precedent that was set in the sense that a Royal Rumble winner went after the NXT championship. So that tells you that they think highly of her, because that precedent that broke a lot of precedent. You see what I'm saying?
Oh,
So that to me meant more for Rhea than anything, because for Charlotte to go, yeah, I want to go after the NXT championship,
Yeah.
kind of says a lot.
Let's talk about Bianca for a moment. Who do you think she's going to challenge? The Raw, the SmackDown, or the NXT Women's Championship? Scooter?
it's an interesting scenario because yeah, she's been kicking ass on SmackDown. She's got clean wins over Bailey and Carmella. But yeah, and but there's something that just makes me think Sasha and Bianca is such a right pairing. Then there's also the possibility of Bianca's got all this newfound confidence. Is she going to look to right one of the biggest wrongs of her career and choose Io Shirai?
That's what I was thinking.
That could be a great match, but I don't know, something about the boss and the EST. It seems like it's the story that WWE wants. It could be the bossest match.
So you're going with Sasha and the
Yeah,
SmackDown's championship.
yeah. I mean, it really it just makes the most sense.
What say you, Kaliko?
Husband on SmackDown, she going to SmackDown.
Well, I mean, I didn't want to be like, oh well, she's gonna rely on her man.
Well, not that, but more the sense that hell, her husband right there, she's gonna be right there with her. It's very rare that they split the husband-wife team. But in essence, it makes sense for SmackDown because SmackDown is as much as I hate to say this, and it's just like, it feels like SmackDown is the wrestling show. It feels like that there's more like people to wrestle in a sense of having great matches and good feuds. Because remember, she just got there, and granted, yes, she got clean wins over Bailey and Carmella, but that to me that doesn't stop them from being formidable challenges. I feel wait a minute, Carmella's the champ now, right?
No, Sasha's the champion right now.
Sasha's still the champ. All right. So Sasha Bianca is a bigger matchup in a sense where it's almost kind of like the young Padawan going after the sensei. And just to prove that she belongs, because keep in mind, Sasha is the one who's number one on PWI or Sports Illustrated top wrestlers, and I'm like, all right, that makes more sense for her to go after the number one, because everything about her is EST. So Fast S, strong S, bad S, bossy S,
Tough S.
tough S, rough S, smart S. I must admit that is like I like those. I can't do it like her, but you know, you get my point.
Let's
I just think she's the Eastern Standard Time of WWE.
let's get to the next match. Last man standing match for the Universal Championship. Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman defeated Kevin Owens. Honestly, this was probably my favorite match on the card. These guys murdered each other, and one of the most unique finishes in a last man standing match I've seen in quite some time. What say you, Scooter?
Uh, yeah. Uh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, 9 times out of 10 in last man standing matches, we're expecting some sort of like out of nowhere, finisher where like maybe it's like a race to get to your feet. No, this was a brawl and a half, and then when Roman really essentially realized that he could literally throw the entirety of Tropicana Field at Kevin Owens, that he would literally have to render him unconscious to the point if he wanted to succeed. And you know what the funny thing is, I don't think we're done.
Another round with Owens?
Oh, I think it looks that way.
Ugh. I mean, that's always been a problem with WWE. They either go too far, too long, or too short with a rivalry. What was your thoughts on the match, Kaliko?
Excellent storytelling. In the sense that we didn't even notice that Roman couldn't get the cuffs off.
Yes.
And the fact that he threw the ref in that bit. That is very, like, usually, that is the most, it was the most unorthodox uh, uh, last man standing match. But I like the fact that he did that because it just showed, yo, it's no DQs. I could bust the ref up, like, before it gets to 10. You know what I mean? And granted, they had that little hiccup, but that hiccup didn't kill the overall vibe of the match. To me, Roman and everybody. And I hate when people say this. Roman's doing his best work since he was a heel, and I say he's doing his best work character wise, as you know, his best work
Best
character wise.
promos.
Wrestling wise,
Promos.
he never. I mean, just in essence, the look on his face when Adam Pearce said "card subject to change" was like,
Right.
I just want to like. His face looked like it takes everything in me not to slap the shit out of you right now, right? So that's what we were looking for with Roman, and to me, this is like his best run as far as acting and character development ever. That being said, we got to figure out who's gonna be his opponent at Mania. I mean, this is where it's gonna get interesting for Roman, or sorry, the head of the table, or the tribal chief, or whichever monkey or he wants to be called nowadays. Don't shoot me, Roman. I'm just.
And that brings us to our last match, the main event of the night. Edge won the Men's Royal Rumble match in 58 minutes and 29 seconds. We saw the return of Carlito Caribbean Cool, and
Oh my god.
oh my God, he looked like he ate the original Carlito.
No, I said this the night of the Royal Rumble to a friend of mine. I was like, because Kane came out before Carlito, and I was like, Kane is what I am, and Carlito is who I strive to be. Like, for fuck's sakes, where the hell is this guy?
As you alluded to, Kane made his 18th appearance in a Royal Rumble and eliminated a record 45 people overall in his Rumble career. Um, Definitely the most unexpected. We got Christian returned and in ring gear, ready to wrestle legitimately. Uh, Damian Priest made his main roster debut, and your last two people in the match was Edge and Randy Orton, who started the match. A lot to unpack here. Maybe let's start with Carlito. Uh, Kaliko, you already said a little bit about him. What about you, Scooter? What do you think about Carlito coming back and maybe
Going from
staying with WWE?
Carlito to Carliton. Uh, I mean, like Carlito going to the John Silver School of Transformation. Um, by suddenly coming out all like jacked. I mean, I guess an apple a day really does keep the doctor away. And I'm glad that Carlito finally caught a ride to Legends Night. After being left on that boat during the ENC, show that totally.
Oh yeah, the ENC. Oh my god, that show was like underrated as fuck. I love that show.
Carlito is the rumor is they're gonna. I guess Carlito is this year's MVP, so to speak. I don't mean like actually like most valuable player. I mean like MVP is in MVP's got a job again. Now Carlito's gonna have a job again, and it looks like Carlito and Elias are going to a feud.
I mean, that's a shame for Carlito anyway.
But I mean, good for good for him. I mean, Carlito is like, you expect him to be like this, like, comparing him to what Chris Masters looks like now. You'd expect Carlito to not really look like Carlito anymore. Instead, he looks like two Carlitos. And it's just, it's just good for him, man.
The main problem I heard about Carlito was that he was lazy in his first run with WWE. He was unmotivated. He was not wanting to be there, rather the nightlife rather than the wrestling life. Kaliko, this is an older, wiser Carlito. Do you see that changing for him and maybe getting a bigger opportunity in WWE right now?
Shit, the way he looked, fuck out of here, man. Who said he was lazy? That motherfucker's swole as hell. Like, he look, man, look. Man, when I saw that dude, I mean, I seen him, outside, and I was like, yo, this dude getting swole. But when he came back, bro, the only way I could put this into term is like, in WWE, he was like Gucci Mane, as far as body wise. He just was looking like a slob, right?
I think Gucci Man is more appropriate.
Gucci Mane. See,
Yeah.
ATL, Gucci Mane. But Gucci Mane now is like a swole motherfucker, and I'm looking like, bro, what have I been going wrong with in my life? The only thing I hate about the pandemic is the fact that Carlito can't do his spit in the face thing anymore. So it kind of fucks that part up, but everything else, he's good to go, man.
I mean, basically, Carlito's been apparently, training with Carrot Top.
Because Carrot Top's swole as fuck.
Jacked.
Yes, hey, I'm looking at them like, bro, I need their like personal trainers. Like, this is like can't be life where Gucci Mane is more swole than me. I refuse to let that happen.
The second major return was Christian. He hasn't wrestled since 2014, I believe. Is this a big return, or is it a big asset to actually have him as an in-ring competitor? What say you, Scooter?
I mean, considering that we thought that he was kind of like, if he takes another hit, like a serious like bump, like he really won't get back up. Back when he was involved in the Randy Orton McIntyre feud, and then Christian comes back. While Edge, after Edge comes back, and suddenly Christian has this renewed fire, which really makes me think that the intention was to bring Christian back along with Edge last year. After just I really hope like. Oh no. Okay, I thought maybe I lost that. I'm really hoping the Fastlane main event is probably Edge and Christian teaming together.
That'd be awesome.
Against for the probably Roman and Jay.
Interesting. Well, that kind of brings us to, the winner, Edge. You said that it was a 50-50. You might like it, you might not like it. I'm in the sense of if he actually challenges Finn Balor for the NXT championship, and kind of have Drew do his thing, Roman do his thing, but have this like little special match that kind of enhances NXT, I would actually be really okay with that and really like that. But if he goes after, one of the major titles, I feel like it's giving somebody else's spot to somebody that might not necessarily deserve it as much. What say you, Kaliko?
To me, Edge is Teflon though. Like, this is the one time where if he loses, it won't be held against him, right? Like, the one thing we usually do with Mania losses, like Nakamura won the Royal Rumble, everybody was excited, and then he lost, and it wasn't the same, right? Asuka won the Royal Rumble, lost at Mania, kind of wasn't the same, right? Edge is in that space where if he loses, it's not a killer, right? If you saw him on NXT, he basically kind of bigged up NXT for being the reason that he even got passion to come back in the first place. So to me, NXT would seem fitting because Finn has no opponent. And there has been rumblings about Finn defending the title at Mania.
Right.
And the reason I said Edge going the winner of the Royal Rumble going after the NXT title seems relevant because the precedent was set with Charlotte last year. So to me, that put NXT in the conversation of, okay, I could go after that belt too, because in essence NXT is no longer developmental. Like, let's just call it what it is. It's literally its own brand. And so to me, Edge winning was not the worst thing, considering, and it made sense in a storyline sense because, I mean, shit, it's fucking Edge. Like, ain't nobody gonna complain about Edge. You know what I mean? In a world where you would say, okay, at a Royal Rumble, Goldberg loses the title match and Edge wins the Royal Rumble, you would say that's a pretty good fucking night.
True.
But, you got people bit. Yeah, and I can see why people 50-50 on it. But Edge in itself has committed to himself being a full-time wrestler, so I don't see the issue with it, man. I mean, keep in mind, when he retired, he still had a lot left to give to the wrestling business. So to me, I mean, let him exhaust it all out as much as he wants to.
You want to add to that, Scooter?
Yeah. I mean, let's run down the achievements from this. Once again, the third person to win the Royal Rumble from the number one spot, of course, Shawn Michaels in '95, and he who must not be named in 2004. The first wrestler to win a Royal Rumble after being inducted into the Hall of Fame. And this is the third time that the first and second entrants lasted the entire match to be the final two. Of course, again happening in '95 and in '99 with Vince and Steve Austin. Not in 2004 like we had thought, James.
Right. So
I mean, honestly, I probably would love a Balor Edge match more than a Roman Edge match, but I think
context is king when it comes to both of those matches.
yes, I think there's more to do with Roman in terms of story, and it's such a drastic difference between Roman and Edge. Like, Edge was spearing people into the match before Roman had it shouted his first "Hoorah!" 5 times a day I'd be like, "Spear, spear, spear, spear," and when you grow up, you're gonna be wrong. All that great stuff that Edge did. God, I love that. What did you with the whiny? What was it with the whiny turtles?
The whiny turtles.
Edge. God, and if I could remember the term, I'd be able to find it.
What decade was that in?
Oh, great! Now I have to find it.
All right, so.
But I think that there's more in terms of padding for story. Roman Edge is probably the better spear versus spear match. I mean, especially if Christian gets involved and okay, me. Yes, I'd love to see Edge and a Christian team one last time. Because I don't think Christian would be a full-time return.
No, it's a part-time.
I think Christian would really have one match, and part of me is thinking Fastlane is Roman against Christian.
So you're going with Edge versus Roman Reigns at Mania for the Universal Championship.
Yeah, just based on logic and context. Do I want to see it more than Finn Balor and Edge? No.
What about you, Kaliko? Who is Edge challenging? The WWE, Universal, or NXT champion?
If you look at percentages, I'd say 50% NXT, 40% SmackDown, 10% Raw.
Interesting.
And the reason being is because Raw, McIntyre is the guy. So it would make sense for Edge to go against the guy, right?
True.
SmackDown, Roman's kind of not ran through everyone, but there's no big face that is up there to Roman's level to go against, right?
True.
NXT, he seemed the most invested from his own words. When he was on the show Wednesday, he seemed more invested in it, saying he's keeping his eye on it, and I'll let you know. And then the carrying cross,
that
thing kind of threw me for a curve, right?
Yeah.
So those little seeds lets me know it's one of those two more so than Raw, because Raw, the Sheamus story is going to invest itself.
Right.
The SmackDown story, once Roman gets rid of Kevin, he could do the Christian thing and bring Edge into it. The NXT thing is just a wrestler's dream. So that's why I would go with those. Those are my percentages.
All right. And we will conclude our coverage of the Royal Rumble tonight. And we will be back next week and to see what he might actually do. And whatever he does, we're going to cover it. Until then, you can catch us this Wednesday as we interview Space Jesus, Billy Starks, and a must-listen interview that's just awesome. I don't think we, toot our own horn when we say that these are quality interviews that are must-listen.
But
I mean, if the wrestlers are saying it in the interview live, it means something, right?
And until then, you could like, subscribe, and comment both on YouTube and Castbox. And join the conversation on Twitter. Our official Twitter handle is Wrestling with E for all the news and goings ons for everything that is wrestling and entertainment. You can find me on Twitter as well at JamesJ993. Where can they find Kaliko?
Find Kaliko being Buzzy McBuzzy at I Am Kaliko.
And where can they find Scooter Dust?
You can find me staring outside your living room window. You have a great taste in carpet. You can also find me on Twitter at Scooter Dust and hold it down for the UMB Network and UMBS Wrestling.
Staring out your window with a carpet. I got hardwoods, bastard.
For Coleco Yachts, Scooter Dust, I'm James Shea, and this has been Wrestling with Entertainment.